To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. Jay here, positivesarcasm.com, recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio. Like, subscribe, share, donate. Positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amounts appreciated. Do you have any questions concerns, or comments? You can hit me up my website on the screen below there, positivesarcasm.com. You can check out all my stuff there. You can also contact me in the contact section. Your stuff is private. I don't market you. I don't use your email. It saves your email, but I don't do anything with it. If you just have any questions or requests or contracts or whatever, you can go ahead and submit them right there. I check that daily. Positivesarcasm.com, the contact section. You can also hit me up and follow me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. Be sure to request right there. And that's pretty much it. It's easy to get a hold of me. I don't have 1,000 different ways to get a hold of me. Just a couple, and they're more than sufficient. Let's see, do I have anything? Anything? No. Okay, good. I wanted to go back to self responsibility back in this podcast, in this episode. Go from silly to, I went from silly to serious to, well, I guess, I don't know, we'll get back to serious, but not serious, but we're just trying to get this going. There's some thoughts in my head. It's like, how did I end up here? And like, how can I convey, because there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to get to this point where I'm at. And I wouldn't mind. It would be nice if I gave you some methodical steps on not only how to get to where I am, but to do it even better. And just remember the things that I am, telling you, it's not brand new. These are not things that you shouldn't be able to look up or figure out. These are just simple things that are not taught in high school. They're not taught in college. Unfortunately, it's something you're going to have to find on YouTube. And, that's the state of the world right now. Like, you realize between Bowtie Nation with Joseph Hogue and Clear Value Tax with Brian Kim, I'm able to figure out how to invest correctly, not overspend on things, not just do it, just between a couple of really smart YouTubers, I'm in a much better place than I was. I mean, there are other factors as far as my life goes, but I have, like, it's amazing what I can learn from a couple of YouTubers that, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a year in education just can't provide anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. I've talked about college before. We're not going to go down this path. You can make arguments one way or the other. I have my biases. But as far as the men go, men need to listen up. Ladies, don't be offended if this episode is not for you. I'm not a woman. Okay? I want to talk to the guys because I see guys out there who are out of shape, out of their minds, out of their finances. They're just they're out of meaning. And men are simple beasts. There's a lot going on in that brain of theirs. But we seek status. We enjoy hard work because we're kind of built that way. We're built to serve. We're built to protect. We're built to provide. We're built to ascend. But it's like that scene in The Great Gatsby where Sam Waterston's character is sitting on the ocean in the Hamptons. I believe it's called East Egg or West Egg in the book. And he's sitting there in his little cottage, which is now a multi-million-dollar piece of land, eating a steak at night, wearing a suit, I believe. And he looks over at the party that's going on at the Gatsby house. I mean, the movie should have ended with him just saying, I'm good. I'm fine right here. It's nice and quiet and peaceful. Roll credits, the end. Instead, he sought that life that was ultimately not for him, and he tried to go home again. Unfortunately, not possible. That simple life is available to the vast majority of people that actually want to try, that actually want to stick with the routine. I think it would, if your obstacles start getting like harder at times, it probably means you're going in the right direction, because it means you're sacrificing something. But there are building blocks to, if you want to get to where I am, in a sense. I'm not trying to preach, but the idea that I'm in this situation of, if you guys followed this podcast long enough and this little journey of mine long enough, it's like I'm here. I'm in a peaceful area. This is beautiful. How long term is it? I don't know. My goal is for it to be permanent, but this is great here. You know, my expenses are low. My relaxation is high. My time is valuable. And the materials that I've acquired were low cost or free. This is great. I have options. I want you to have options. I want you to have opportunity. But I think right up front, for those of you who are not sure where to go or what to do, well, that's where we're going to start. That's where we're going to start. Like, so maybe, ladies, you'll take something from this, because there are some things that, but I envision myself just talking to a guy and be like, all right, you're here. What do you plan on doing next? What are your plans? Because I know somebody who had a real bad drinking problem, dressed like shit, had a mental health breakdown, and they went through all these things, and they ultimately was like, all right, and then the next time I see them, they updated their wardrobe, they quit drinking, they want to get healthy. It's like, all right, they want to do some good things, and they do. I'm seeing these things. It's like, all right, well, this is a step in the right direction. A small change in mindset like that, where you are now presenting yourself to the world in a more, you belong to the crowd mindset. Well, people will take you more seriously. Men want to be taken seriously. This is a good place to start. So, men, listen up. We'll start with, where are you? Where am I? All right. If you are you in an environment? Is your living situation safe enough? And I get it. There's always an element of danger no matter what you do, but there's risk to any place that you go. But is where you're living, where your feet land, where your bed lies, is it safe enough to where you can flourish? Now, if you're young, no, actually, it doesn't matter. If I understand that when you're younger, you want to see the lights at night, you want to go see stuff, you want to go do stuff, and it's like, okay, well, that balance is hard to control when you're young, because you're following the tide. The tide goes in and out. You're just in with it, because your shallow mindset just carries you from place to place to place. And you just kind of end up where you end up. No clue. Completely unaware of the consequences of what you might be doing. It's like those turtles that as soon as they hatch, they just run for the ocean. They just run for the ocean. And you're just one of those guys out there chasing puss. And you're just a bunch of turtles. Puss, it's all right. Next thing you know, like a fucking seagull shows up and a crab shows up and eats all your friends. It's like, oh, you made it to the ocean. There's no puss here. What do we do now? Okay. All right. Well, land's that way. So, is where you're living safe enough for you to flourish? It is? Okay. Set up shop. If it is not preventing you from flourishing, then cool. Then, now, if it isn't, all right, if you are safe enough to flourish there, cool. Proceed on to plan B, to step B. If it isn't, get out of there. Get out. Move to somewhere that is safe enough Because look at it this way. Your overhead for making your place safe enough is going to deprive you of the finances and the mindset to be able to succeed, because you're always going to be worried about, is my car going to get towed? Is it going to get scratched up? Is my scooter going to get stolen? Is my house going to, or apartment going to get broken into? Am I going to get beat up or murdered? These things. Is my neighborhood safe enough to where I can just go and grab groceries? Is like, are these little things in your mind that are taking away from your like, because you need to be in a peaceful mindset. The hustle and grind, yes, absolutely. But the hustle and grind is cool if there's nothing. It goes from hustle and grind. If that's all you do every day, cool. But if it's hustle, car gets towed, scooter gets stolen, bike gets stolen, house never, the showers never works correctly, your stove is broken, the landlord won't fix it. It's like, all right, we've got obstacles. But if you've got a nice little pad that it gives you your starting grounds for flourishing, then we're in business. All right, now we got something to work with. All right, you've got your spot to start. If it doesn't, you need to go. Now, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you go north, south, east, or west. But ultimately, you need to land somewhere where you can, it is safe enough to where you can start to flourish. Where you can get where you need to go without that many obstacles that deprive you of a creative, productive mindset of ultimately seeking out your long-term goals. And what's long-term goals? 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year, 30 year. It's not that many steps. All right. If you can get to 1 year, you can get to 3. If you get 3, 5 is easy. If you can get 5, 10. 10 to 20, 20 to 30. So, where would you move to? If your spot wasn't safe enough to, ultimately, you have to move to, if you're in the city, you move to suburban. If you move to suburban and it's not safe enough there, you move to rural. Now, it's like, well, the money's not there. Well, that's the thing, is if you're moving to a place that's more rural, is it going to cost as much? Well, it's like maybe the rent going to be higher? No, the rent can't be any higher than it is in a city. It just can't. There are states with cities that are super expensive to live in, and then there are states with cities that are less expensive. Like, is it more expensive to live in Brooklyn than it is to live in Charleston, South Carolina? Charleston is a big, beautiful city with lots of things to do and lots of resources and jobs and all this other stuff. Do you have more opportunities in Charleston, South Carolina than you do in New York? Do you have just as many? And if so, what are your expenses? What is your rent down there? Well, the cost of living down there, I bet you that they pay less in Charleston. So what? So what if you have less shit to worry about than you do in New York? If your rent is lower and you have the ability to move up and you have the ability to flourish. If you have the ability to flourish in one place more likely than it is than another, that's the place you need to go to. And that's where you're going to start. What would be preventing you? Is there something or someone stopping your ability to move or flourish? That is a great question. If it's debt, let's start with debt. If debt is preventing you, if there's enough debt preventing you from moving or flourish, you have to not figure out how to pay off that debt. You need to figure out how to cut your expenses so that you can start to pay off that debt to the point where you can move or flourish. Moving with debt sucks. But you can do it. But less debt, the better. So you start by coming up with a plan to pay off your stuff by cutting expenses. So if it's debt, you pay down those expenses, those debts by cutting your expenses so that you can move. If you just can't do it without moving, if you can't cut your expenses and your debt without just moving, then just move and take your chances. So eliminating debt is, obviously, if you want to flourish, you have to reduce or eliminate debt. You have to. Moving with debt can be tough, but it is a mild obstacle. A U-Haul, a security deposit, the new job. Do you have to wait 30 days? Have you already found another job? Those things like that. Debt, figure out your debt, get it all lined up in front of you, look at the numbers and be like, all right, in 6 months, I want to have this amount. I want to have a job lined up here. Now, in that job, is a good question to ask. In the job, hey, am I prone to be, is this job or the jobs that I could possibly do here prone to being replaced by outsourcing or AI in the next 3, 5, or 10 years? And if the answer is no, be like, oh, okay, cool. This gives me a chance to get in and get started and go from there. Is there going to be a pay cut? Most likely, I would think. If you taking a pay cut is not necessarily a bad thing, it's not a bad thing, actually. It's not. You can build back up as long as it's in an industry that you like. Or you just roll with the industry that you're currently in until you land where you are, and then you go into something you like because you're settled, you're there, and it's like, all right, I'm here. Do I want to stay in this industry? Do I work remote? Do I want to continue to work remote? Do I like it? Do I not like it? All right, whatever. You have that option. If the job pays well and you are now able to flourish in that new area because you're working remotely, okay, well then there you go. But if not, make that decision. Make that decision. Start the work. Fill out your Indeed thing. Start looking around, seeing what you want to do. Ultimately, serving your community. That way you don't have to pretend to be like a fake person. A job that, I take pride in my job. A lot of people don't take pride in their job. They just go to work, come home. But if you have a job that serves community, ultimately has value, it's like, all right, and it gives you a little more motivation to do that job and then ultimately come up with new ideas as side hustles. So now, is family preventing you from flourishing or moving? Well, then you need to, ultimately, that's a hard decision to make. It is a hard decision, but it's a decision you'll have to make. Like, listen, I'm not flourishing. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like where I am. I don't like how I have to deal with family all the time. And you have to remove yourself. You have to remove yourself or reduce your time with family. If there's people in your family that are pissing you off, asking for money, getting in your way, showing up unannounced, just ultimately being a problem, you need to remove yourself from that situation. I get it. Family's family. But family can be fucking crazy and really difficult to work with. So you ultimately have to remove yourself. Friends. I get it. You want to be accepted by your friend. You can always make new friends. But your friends are going to have lives too. Their own personal lives. May have families and other things. And they're going to go do what they're going to do. So you have to understand that. Don't be held down. Don't let your pursuit of your own life be hindered by the fact that, my friends. That's the weakest excuse of all of these. Especially if they're like, we're going to go out and get beers. And it's like, dude, I got stuff to do tomorrow. I want to be awake for tomorrow. Okay? Relationship. All right? I know somebody that ultimately they were in this relationship. They just got a place together, and she went crazy. She was crazy. She already had problems. It got to the point where he could not function at work, and he had to leave. He had to flee. So he left. Moved, somewhere else for a little bit to get things straightened out, remove himself, get his mind right. If a relationship is holding you back from flourishing or moving so that you can flourish, either that person comes with you, or look, you have to ultimately do what's best for you. It might suck for that other person, but are they if ask themselves, are they flourishing? Do they want to move as well? These are the questions you got to ask. Because ultimately, if you're not at peace with yourself, there's a problem there. That is one of the harder parts of the ones I just laid out. There's debt, which is a hard one. You got to start with that one. That one's a financial hindrance from you flourishing or moving so that you can flourish. Family, to me, that's an easier one. Friends, cakewalk. Relationship, that's a hard one because there's an emotional connection there. But do what's best for ultimately yourself, but ultimately what both parties will. Well, first of all, if this person's crazy or ultimately just holding you back, well, that's not a good relationship to be in. You got to take care of you. So those are the 4 items that I've thought of off the top of my head that could prevent you from moving or flourishing. Obviously, moving, it's like, well, I'm moving away. See ya. Don't go. I love you. So, now, is where you're living safe enough to where you can flourish? We talked about that. What's preventing you from being able to move or flourish? We talked about that. So, let's say you've now moved. How self-sufficient are you? Did you move to a place where you have to be a little more... have you ever changed plumbing before? Have you ever mowed a lawn before? Have you ever done your own financial balances? Do you have a car that maybe needs a little of this and a little bit of that? And now that you're on your own a little bit more, you can kind of take care of some of the things yourself. How self-sufficient are you? Do you own tools? Do you know how to cook? Do you make your own coffee? Those are things that you definitely want to ask yourself. It's like, all right, well, do you make your own coffee? No. Easy one. Start. That'll pay for your phone bill right away. Right there. What else is it? Do you make your own dinner? Do you go out for dinner? Do you buy breakfast in the morning? All right. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. These are little things that self-sufficiency pays dividends overall. That stretches your budget. That gives you a budget. So being self-sufficient, obviously, getting up at the appropriate amount of time, making sure that your food is ready to go, you have enough clothes, you have all the things around you that you need to succeed on your own with as little assistance as possible from the outside world, which means you have nobody making your food for you, nobody making your coffee for you. If you have either your own transportation, or you have there's bus stops, or you have like a little scooter to get you to work or something like that. These are little items that give you that freedom to be like, I can do what I need to do and go where I need to go in order to be successful. So being self-sufficient, like I said, overall, being able to handle most of the responsibilities of your life by yourself. I get it, like going to get your hair cut and blah, blah, blah. Those, all right, I get it. Now, are you healthy? Another one. Are you healthy? Are you 50 pounds overweight? 25 pounds overweight? 40? Okay, are you healthy? Are you strong? Do you get plenty of sleep? So these things, that's another thing that stops you from flourishing, because if you're tired all the time, achy all the time, that is another thing. So what can you start by getting healthy? You immediately change your diet. Okay. You immediately change the foods that you consume on a daily basis, and you make a pattern of consuming these foods at certain times in certain amounts throughout the week. And you copy this pattern until you feel comfortable enough that you don't think you'll deviate more than 10 to 15% on a monthly basis. That way, you can now focus on, I got the food down, which is half the battle. How do I get healthier? Well, you start your mornings and your afternoons your mornings easily by going for a walk. You go for a walk. Doesn't have to be a jog. I'm going to buy new sneaker, cross trainers. I'm going to go for a run. You're going to gas out. That's not going to last. That isn't. It's not going to last. I guarantee you. If you're going for runs or jogs every single morning, that's not going to last. Your joints are going to start hurting because you don't have enough muscle mass to get started with that. You're going to gas out. It's just not going to work. I'm telling you right now. Fucking forget that. Okay? Your body's going to eat whatever muscle you even have to begin with from just running all the time, and you're going to get weaker. You're going to get skinny. You're going to get ugly. Nobody's going to like you. People don't like you anyways, but whatever. You start by going for walks. Let's get your body rhythm going, get your metabolism going, get your digestion going. You get up a little earlier to go do that. 20-minute walk, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, no big deal. You find a route that you can do at a rhythm that you can hold. And you come back, you take a shower. Or you do it after your shower. It doesn't matter. And you start your day. You've already started moving. The grogginess in you is gone. You feel better. And you move on with your day. It helps with your appetite. Your appetite will fill the gap of the calories that you're already burned during that walk. Cool. Now, do you need muscle? Do you need to increase your muscle mass? Awesome. How do we do that? You could join a gym. You can join a gym, or if you have enough space, you can create your own home gym. I've talked about that in a podcast way back in the day. It's not an expensive task. You can do it for a few $100 nowadays. You don't need a lot of stuff. But if you insist on joining a gym, which is perfectly okay, I'm not going to knock that. If you have that little extra coin to do that now that you've worked on a couple things here and there, you join a gym. You join a nice gym. Don't do Planet Fitness. Join a gym that is clean, first of all. Clean, organized, good-looking people go there. You just put your hat down. You put your headphones on. Headphones, you don't need, first of all, you don't need expensive clothes to go to the gym. You don't need expensive headphones to go to the gym. And you don't need an expensive music service to go to the gym. I think Pandora is like $6 a month, and that's the only streaming service I have. This will give you the music playlist that you need for that, getting in your own little world. And you put those headphones on, that costs you like $12 from TJ Maxx, and you go to work. And your minimum time there, 30 to 45 minutes. Don't waste more time than you need to. Do your sets, get in, get out. You don't really need to talk to people. Talking to people is easily 15 to 20 minutes of wasted time. You don't text on your phone. Don't look at your phone. Put your fucking phone away. Put it in your gym bag. Put it in your gym bag that you maybe walk around with so that you can continue to listen to stuff. But just don't look at it. Put it on vibrate. Put it on silent. Doesn't matter. Just so you're focused on what you're doing. If you're talking or looking at your phone, you realize you could be wasting 30 minutes. You could do a whole workout in 30 to 45 minutes. You superset everything. You drop set everything. You move on with your tasks. You burn your calories between 300 and 500 calories and you're gone. You go to the gym, you work the muscle, and you go home and you feed the muscle. You do that for 6 months to a year, different person. Okay? You're not going to be Mr. Olympia, and you don't have to be. You can get a really good physique, a really nice looking physique, just by these simple additions of a 30 to 45 minute workout, an hour if you've got the energy, and that walk every morning. You do that 7 days out of the week of the walks in the morning and 5 days a week at the gym, 4 days of the week at the gym, you're going to change. You're definitely going to change for the better, especially in that first year. That first year, ooh, boy, your body does something nice. So if you're healthy, good. Is there a next step you can take? Can you maintain that? If you're not, you've got work to do, and that simple program right there is what's going to get you started. Now, as far as those foods go, You're going to have to figure out now in your neighborhood within, I'd say, a 10-minute drive, what grocery stores can offer you the basic fundamentals, the basic food fundamentals for the least amount of money. For the least amount of money. I don't care what kind of proteins you eat. If it's pork, chicken, beef, fish, dairy, it just has to have that essential protein that can go into your body and help feed it to keep it healthy. You just do the you. You start over here where the eggs are, then you coast onto the back where the meat is, and then you go to the right where the vegetables are, the fresh produce are, the frozen vegetables are, and that's it. And the only time you should go into the middle aisles is to get like fucking oil, olive oil, or like canned tuna and like seasonings. You don't spend a lot of time there. You grab some coffee, grab coffee grinds, and get out. You shouldn't be spending more than 5 to 10 minutes in the grocery store. Tops. Get in, get out. So that will, and once you figure out where the cheapest places to go, and you can go to the grocery store twice a week. You go there twice a week because maybe you'll find some deals other than going once a week. And you don't go when the normal traffic is. Try to see if you can go early before the traffic gets there and takes all the good shit. Or just ultimately when it's not convenient, but the best time that you know you can maximize your dollar. And then go twice to see if you can score big on the second run. Because if you go twice, you're going to be able to grab things maybe the next time that weren't available to you the first time for less price. Little strategic, little strategy there. Is it a proven strategy? For me, 100%. Rinse and repeat. Do your paychecks disappear the minute you get them, too? So let's say you make, I don't know, $750, $800 a week. Do you know where that stuff goes? Or do you just throw it all towards bills and then run on a credit card for the next week or 2 weeks if you get paid biweekly? Well, what do you do then? Figure out where that fucking money's going and budget it out. You should be leaving between $150 and $200, between $150 to $250 in your paycheck, in your checking account that you can use to get through your day, and then budget out the rest. You put $50, $100 a week towards a credit card if you have that thing. If you have student loans, put a little bit of money towards that each week. Weekly, you should be paying down these things. If you don't have student loans, great. If you have a car payment, obviously, budget that in. Budget that in, but you need to have money every single week or money to coast through every single week so that you're not just sitting there and swiping that credit card. That credit card, when you start swiping that credit card, and it's like that's going to run away with you after a while, which it probably already has. So you need to budget out. I need this much money. This is the minimum amount of money I need to function each week. And then once you set that balance, like $200, bam, right here. Then you take all this other money and be like, I'm going to do this, X, Y, and Z with that. Now, somewhere in there, that paycheck to paycheck mindset is where you figure out, all right, when can I start investing in my future? Well, there's always going to be $5, $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, maybe even $100 in the very beginning that you can use to start investing. Is investing free? Why, yes, it is. There are multiple platforms that you can use to start investing with. Weeble's a great one. I love Weeble. It's free. You can start investing in monthly or quarterly dividend or growth stocks, ETFs, balanced portfolios that are already pre-made for you, and you can just start investing and just put that money away and don't even look at it. And then you set aside a small emergency fund. Well, not like emergency fund. Ultimately, you're like, hey, my car broke fund, or I need stuff for my car, or oil change money, or whatever. And you take that $5, $10 every single week, and you just put this in this other thing, this other account, which you do. And that one is free too. You put that in like a Moomoo account or something, and it sits there, and it accrues interest, way more interest than would be in in what you call it, a savings account. Savings accounts don't pay shit. Or you can actually put it in, I believe there's these money market accounts or like treasury funds. There's a website. You can go invest in like 3-month treasury bonds and 4 or 5%, and you'll get that money back. And there's your little nest egg, and you can just keep doing that. So that's figuring out where your money goes so that your paycheck just doesn't disappear the moment you get that. So that is it. It is actually, it's not easier said than done. It's actually easy to do. When you figure out where your money goes each month, you then can start planning how to attack that problem. But you have to lay it out on the line. You have to lay it out on paper. This is where everything goes. If you have a car that's way too fucking expensive and you have a way to get out of that, get out of it and go find something cheaper. You need, at the end of the day, you need something simple and clean. If it's simple, clean, and lower miles, that's your car. All right? Start with something simple and clean, and then go from there. Once you get to the point where you can have you have the luxury of doing what I do, having a muscle car in the summertime, and then having a car for the wintertime. When you have the luxury like that, okay, cool. You're not there that year. You're not there yet. Okay? If you have a motorcycle license, cool. You can have like a winter beater and then like have like a motorcycle, like a 250cc or something like that you could just cruise in the summertime to work. Great on gas, cheap to fucking run. All right then. No problems there. If you don't have to take the highway, your commute to work, if you have to commute, should be short. To me, in my opinion, it should be no more than 25 minutes. I would say the best commute time to work should be between 10 and 15 minutes. I mean, obviously shorter is great, but 5-minute commute would be sweet. But 10 to 15 minutes is your sweet spot because you want to keep your daily mileage down low. But 25 minutes is your max, depending upon how much you're making, because you want to keep costs down. So, another thing. How distracted are you daily? Are you fucking stuck on the toilet for an hour, like scrolling through Instagram? In bed, scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, or all that shit? Playing video games way too much? These little things. You got to cut that shit out because that's your productivity hour. That's your sleep. That's the moments where the time that you can get stuff done or think or relax. But scrolling's going to kill you, dog. So you need to minimize that. An easy one is to shut your phone off at night. All right? Easy. That's an easy one. Go find like an old school alarm clock or an old shitty tablet that's just good enough to it runs a long time, like on a battery. Because that's what I use. I use like an old tablet, like an S4, and it's my alarm clock. And the battery on that thing lasts like, I don't know, a few months before it has to recharge because it's in airplane mode. It does nothing else but go off. And then you shut your phone off at night. So your distractions have to be minimized. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to flourish because you're just going to be distracted by all the bullshit that's going on. And there's plenty of it. But ultimately, a lot of it, it's just fire on the left and fire on the right. But your focus in life is crystal clear. So as long as you're not paying attention to this, keep moving forward. And you will. So, a couple more items here. Do you talk more than you listen? Now, when you see me, you think, oh, I talk a lot. Actually, quite frankly, most of my day is quiet. Most of my week is quiet. I'm consuming. I'm thinking. I'm reading. I'm looking. I'm studying. I'm letting my thoughts emerge. I'm spending time with the people and the things that I care about. It's only this small amount of time that I am really like talking and collecting my thoughts. Because you only have so many shots. You only have so many bullets in that gun. You got to know what you're aiming at before you pull the trigger. So if all you do is talk and talk and talk, you're not listening, you're not thinking, you're not reading, you're not learning, you're not taking in. You got to take in more than you put out. Take in enough, because then the stuff that you put out there will have way more value. And I only do this once a week. So there's a lot that is going on in my brain that I'm just kind of letting the breeze do the job. Letting my ears and eyes take in information before I put it out there. So learn a lot and then see what comes out of it. See what comes out of your mouth when you talk. Now, as you get older, your talking skill, may be able to talk a little bit more because you've already got enough information in your brain that it's now time to spill that onto the world and let obviously that experience pay dividends for you. But you got to invest in thinking and in learning first before you start spilling you're running your yap on the streets. What else? There's two more things here. Which one do I want to talk about first? Okay. Do you have a dog? Do you have a dog? Do I have a dog? Well, yes, I do. I've got the best puppy in the whole world. Now, why does this matter? Well, the funny thing about a dog is it teaches you how to love. It teaches you to appreciate the little things in life. It teaches you responsibility and scheduling and routine. And it gives you comfort. And they're your best friend. You learn from them and they learn from you. If you panic, they panic. If you're angry, they're angry. If you're alert, they're alert. But if you're relaxed, you're taking care of them. This is something that is people see and appreciate and gravitate towards. Having a dog has value. And it has value, most importantly, just to you. Just to you. So, do you have a dog? Is a good question in all this stuff because, quite frankly, it might be a good idea just to get one. Feed them well. Treat them well. People see that. They gravitate towards that. They want to know your dog's name. They want to know how you got him. They want to know a little bit of he's a good boy. And they just start asking questions. And then something for you to take pride in. Something for you to learn how to love. That's an interesting one out of all these. That's what I was like, right, I wrote that. I'm like, do you have a dog? That might be a good idea. Because if you at least know how to take care of something and have respect and love for something other than yourself, that can speak volumes in more ways than you realize. Finally, what is your long-term plan? Figuring that out is key. Do you want to have a family? Are you going to be the dual income, no kids thing, where you have a dog, a person in your life, and a nice sunset view? What is your personal goal here? Now, it can't be gimmicky. Oh, I want to visit these places and this places. I want to, drive a fucking Bugatti. It's like, look. You got to start small here. You got to, remember, I started this episode by talking about Gatsby. Sam Waterston's character before he met Jay Gatsby. I think it was Jay, right? Whatever. That simple thing. You don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that. And you don't want to have people in your life that tell you need to lose that. A woman in your life that tells you it's just not enough. Like, I saw a reel where her husband got her a brand new Jeep Wagoneer. Thing probably cost like $50,000. And she was pissed because it wasn't a Cadillac. Bitch, you ain't a Cadillac. That's fucking... Somebody hit the divorce button. A little house with a nice yard. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It just isn't enough. That's a red flag right there. That's a huge red flag right there. That person is going to suck you dry. Okay? That is a person you can't have in your life. Your ultimate goal, in my opinion, should be peace, prosperity, to flourish, to relax, to know that things are probably going to be okay and there's nobody out to take your shit. And that's part of peace in mind that we discussed from the very beginning. You want to be in an environment that's safe enough where you can flourish. And it's not just like criminality and stuff. It's like the people in your life, the people in your home. Are they out for your best interests as well? Because if they're not, they have to go. But if they're already in your home and it's like your peace and you found your spot, your beautiful little patch of dirt with a great view and a picket fence and the yard and the dog and the grills, this is important. Nothing should threaten that. Nothing should threaten that. So your ultimate goal, when do you want to retire? Are you 25 years old? Are you 30? Are you 35? These are the little things. Start investing. Start planning for... I don't want to hear about inflation. I don't want to hear about it. The American dream still exists. I know BlackRock and State Street are trying to buy all of it, but it still exists. You can still achieve it. You just have to it's like it's always has been. You have to focus. You have to have that goal. You need to save towards it and be like, I want this type of house in this type of environment that I could expand. If you can expand it by 10 to 15 to 20%, that's your spot. That's your spot. That's a place where you can grow old. That's going to have value, if not financial, but sentimental. And it can be your spot, your safe haven, that you can really just focus on your goals ultimately, of the things that you want to do down the road in life. But if you're 25 years old, all right, and you've got no investments, a little car payment, but you're not buried in debt, brother, you are in the best possible situation because now you can start. You can start right now. In 5, 10, or 15 years from now, you quite possibly could be retired. Do you realize that? Imagine being retired by the age of 40. It is so possible. Now, if you're 35, imagine being retired by the age of 50 or 60. If you're 35, that's 25 years. If you're 25 and you retire before the age of 50, I mean, once again, 25 years. You can do a lot in 25 years. I mean a lot if you just let this stuff do its thing. Because eventually it's not going to be $20, $30, $40, $50 a paycheck. It could end up being $100, $250, $300, $400 a paycheck. $500 a paycheck going into your investments. And letting them just sit there and do their thing. You do that. Man, that sunset, it's going to come a lot quicker than you realize. You're going to be like, man, do I even have to work anymore? Do I have to be full-time? And then maybe you can go get that muscle car that you've always been dreaming of. And there's plenty of them. Brother, there's so many cool-ass cars that you can buy for under $10,000. You could be in a fucking Corvette tomorrow for $7,000. That's nothing. That's cash. Swipe. It is 100% possible. But these are some of the bullet points that you're going to have to write down for yourself and then start to execute them one by one. And I think I truly think you'll be able to achieve the vast majority of what I'm talking about if you follow these patterns. But you have to start with being in an environment that you feel like you're safe enough and not distracted, so where you can actually start to flourish. Start with that, and I think you'll go long. You can find me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. Hit me up on my website, positivesarcasm.com. Go to the contact section, questions, concerns, comments. Either way to get a hold of me, it's perfectly fine. And if you want to subscribe to this podcast, you can hit it up on basically anywhere where the podcasts are available audio-wise: Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Apple Podcast. Or you can watch this podcast on Rumble or YouTube. Of course, it's available there. So, if you want to support this podcast, easy. Go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount's appreciated. If you're looking for posing music, if you're a fitness competitor, you can email me as well. In the meantime, thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. And I'll talk to y'all next week. Recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio alongside New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast. For entertainment purposes only, this has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation.